Throughout history, governments, organizations, and even nature itself have drawn impenetrable lines around certain places. These are places shrouded in secrecy, protected by law, or isolated by their own harmful nature. From deadly islands, teeming with deadly predators, to military zones so classified they don't appear on maps, and ancient temples where the uninitiated are forbidden to tread. These 20 locations hold the answers to mysteries we may never solve. Number 20. Pravchitská brána, Czech Republic. There are places so stunning and yet so dangerous that they simply demand to be left alone. And this place is one of them. Nestled in the breathtaking Bohemian Switzerland National Park in the Czech Republic, this towering sandstone arch holds the title of the largest natural arch in all of Europe. It's a masterpiece of nature, shaped by centuries of wind and water erosion, but its beauty comes with a ticking clock. In the past, Pravchitská brána welcomed visitors from far and wide, eager to walk across its massive 16-meter-long span. However, the very footsteps of those admirers began to take a toll. By the 1980s, the constant wear and tear prompted authorities to close access to the arch in an effort to preserve it. Today, while you can't walk on it, you can still admire it from designated viewpoints that offer sweeping panoramas of the surrounding park's rugged cliffs and lush forests. But despite these conservation efforts, the arch is still slowly crumbling under its own weight. And while Europe's natural wonders captivate with their breathtaking beauty, some places hold darker, more haunting stories. Let's now journey across the Atlantic to a place where history took a chilling turn and nature now guards its secrets. Number 19. North Brother Island. Tucked away in the East River of New York City, between the Bronx and Rikers Island, lies North Brother Island, a 13-acre patch of land soaked in dark history. Once the site of a tragic shipwreck, it became the final resting place for over 1,000 souls whose passenger ship sank in its unforgiving waters. In time, the island was repurposed into a quarantine hospital for those suffering from contagious diseases. Among its most infamous residents was Mary Mallon, better known as Typhoid Mary. She became the first person in the United States to be documented as a carrier of typhoid fever. It's believed that she unknowingly infected more than 50 people, and tragically, 3 of them lost their lives. Today, the island stands abandoned, its haunting past preserved by nature. It has since transformed into a bird sanctuary, though it remains off-limits to the public. Special permits can be obtained for scientific research, but the island's weird silence and isolation continue to keep it hidden in mystery. But unlike North Brother Island's secrets that have remained shrouded in silence, another island's dark past have refused to stay buried. Number 18. Dead Man's Island.
That is huge.
The other one's over here. That's good.
Wow.
Beneath its surface, this island hides a grim secret. It served as a burial ground for countless humans over the years. But what makes it truly chilling is that these buried remains didn't stay hidden. Over time, bones and other remains began washing up along the shores, occasionally floating fearfully in the surrounding waters. What's even more unsettling is the condition of these remains. Many of them were riddled with traces of plagues, including the infamous Black Plague. For locals, this horrible occurrence has become so common that it hardly raises an eyebrow anymore. It's simply a part of the island's strict reputation and a haunting piece of its history. The identities of these individuals remain a mystery. Some believe they were prisoners, while others suggest that victims of deadly plagues were hastily buried here during desperate times. In 2016, Deadman Island's chilling legacy resurfaced when around 200 human remains were discovered.
I've just discovered, and look, I've just found a jawbone.
There were calls to rebury them with dignity, but the relentless erosion of the land made it nearly impossible to track and properly relocate the bones. In the end, the project was abandoned, leaving the island to its own weird fate. Today, locals and visitors prefer to keep their distance, avoiding the land where history and tragedy linger in every corner. Now, while Dead Man's Island might haunt with its eerie tales of exposed history and restless remains, another island, thousands of miles away, offers an entirely different kind of seclusion. Number 17. Niihau Hawaiian Island. Niihau, often called the Forbidden Island, is a small, secluded piece of paradise located just south of Kauai, one of the main Hawaiian islands. It's called the Forbidden Island for a very good reason. Access to Niihau is incredibly restricted. Only those who have clear permission from the island's owners are allowed to visit. The island has been in the hands of the Robinson family since 1864, and they've maintained a strict policy of limiting outside visitors. Niihau holds huge significance to the Hawaiian people, as it is one of the last places where traditional Hawaiian culture is still thriving. The small community that calls Niihau home lives a lifestyle that has remained largely unchanged for centuries, keeping ancient customs alive in a way that no longer exists in most other parts of Hawaii. Aside from its rich culture, Niihau is known for its breathtaking natural beauty. Its beaches are clean, with crystal-clear waters, and the island is home to a variety of plants and animals found nowhere else on Earth. This uniqueness is one of the reasons the island has remained so off-limits to outsiders for so long. The Robinson family's goal is to protect Niihau's environment and cultural heritage from the dangers of invasive species, environmental harm, and the inevitable changes that come with modernization. In 2018, the island still had no tile roads or running water. The small village on Niihau runs completely on solar power, maintaining a self-sufficient, almost timeless way of life. By keeping the island's access restricted, the Robinson family ensures that this special place continues to preserve its beauty, history, and way of life. Untouched by the outside world, Niihau might have safeguarded its timeless beauty and culture through isolation. This next location earned its infamy by evoking fear and mystery. Number 16, Pluto's Gate. No wonder this place was once called the gateway to the underworld. The entrance of the building releases thick, foul-smelling gas, creating the mysterious illusion of flames flashing just beneath the surface. For people in ancient times, it's easy to understand why they thought it was a doorway to something dark and sinister. Today, we know there's a far more scientific reason to avoid getting too close. The cave was built atop a crucial fault, which causes it to spew out dangerous, toxic fumes. These gases are so harmful that they can kill any living creature that comes into contact with them. Even though the temple itself was destroyed long ago, the area remains off-limits, as the fumes still pose a serious threat. But while this deadly gateway remains a proof to nature's wrath, another location reveals the depths of human cruelty, one marked by oppression, forced labor, and the echoes of lives forever changed. Number 15, Ross Island. Once seized by the British, this island became more than just a strategic location. It was transformed into a notorious correctional colony. From 1858 to around 1941, it was used to imprison political rebels and criminals. This dark period in the island's history saw countless individuals subjected to oppression and grueling forced labor. Today, the island is a popular tourist destination, but its past is far from forgotten. Visitors can explore the remnants of its colonial history, including the ruins of the British Commissioner's residence, an old church, and a swimming pool that once served the British officers. Hiking trails and attractive viewpoints also draw crowds, offering a glimpse of the island's natural beauty. Yet beneath the attraction of its modern-day charm, the island's history tells a grim tale. Many of the prisoners, most of whom were Indians, were forced to clear land for the construction of buildings and facilities to serve their British captors. Over time, Ross Island was abandoned, and nature slowly began reclaiming the land, with thick vegetation now enveloping the once imposing structures, leaving behind a haunting reminder of its brutal past. From the abandoned remnants of British oppression to ancient artworks safeguarded beneath the earth, history's echoes now lead us to a remarkable subterranean discovery. Number 14, Lascaux Caves.
In these caves, we see the beginnings of superstition.
These caves, hidden beneath the earth, hold some of the world's most precious treasures. Ancient cave paintings that are believed to be over 17,000 years old. Sadly, since 1963, people have been banned from entering the caves. The reason for this restriction is not just to keep the art safe from time, but because of a series of fungal outbreaks that occurred after too many visitors explored the caves. These outbreaks proved that even the presence of humans can threaten the fragile artwork that has survived for millennia. To preserve the incredible 900 pieces of Stone Age art, which offer a glimpse into the lives of our ancient ancestors.
In these caves, you see the transition from just surviving to living, to observing the world, to enjoying it.
The caves are now closed to the public. Detailed replicas of the caves have been created, allowing everyone to marvel at these masterpieces while ensuring that the originals are protected for generations to come. Now, while the secrets of the Lascaux caves remain locked away to preserve their fragile past, another site conceals something far more volatile and dangerous.
Horses, bulls, and goats were painted on their walls about 17,000 years ago.
Number 13. Runit Island. In the mid-90s, the United States embarked on a daring and controversial project. As it often does, the country used an isolated island as a testing ground for some of its most dangerous experiments: nuclear and biological weapons. Over the course of just 4 years, the US dropped more than 25 bombs on the island. These bombs were said to be 1,000 times more powerful than the ones that devastated Hiroshima. However, this explosive testing left behind a serious problem: what to do with the dangerous waste. To deal with the hazardous materials, the authorities came up with a bold plan. They created a so-called nuclear coffin. Huge amounts of concrete were brought in to build a thick 18-inch layer, designed to trap and seal off the toxic remnants. This concrete dome now encases some of the deadliest substances on Earth. The size of the dome is staggering. Still, some people are skeptical about its integrity. Many fear that the construction was rushed, and there are even reports of cracks forming in the dome. Despite these concerns, officials insist that the dome will keep everything contained for another 20 years. The island itself isn't heavily guarded, but anyone thinking of venturing there would be making a grave mistake. The risks are too high, and the consequences too unimaginable. Now, while this island conceals the deadly remnants of nuclear tests, this other one harbors the eerie ruins of a castle built to store an explosive arsenal. Number 12. Bannerman Castle.
Bannerman's Island was an incredible place when Bannerman created it from 1901 to 1918.
Nestled high above New York City, about 50 miles away, stands a castle with a fascinating and explosive past. It is an iconic landmark located on an island in the Hudson River. It was built by Frank Bannerman, a savvy businessman and military surplus dealer during the early 20th century. Today, the castle ruins draw visitors from far and wide, offering a glimpse into the past through cultural events and performances. But the castle's history is far from ordinary. Frank Bannerman made his fortune during the Civil War and the Spanish-American War, purchasing a massive stockpile of weapons. As his collection grew, he needed a place to store it all. In response, he bought an island nearby and constructed a castle to house his arsenal. Unfortunately, this was just the beginning of the castle's dramatic story. Though Bannerman passed away in 1918, his family continued to live in the castle. However, disaster struck in 1920 when the powder house, where explosive materials were stored, detonated.
The city of Brooklyn did not want any part of, so they did not have it here.
The massive explosion, triggered by 200 tons of shells and powder, severely damaged the structure. The blast left the castle in ruins, and over time, fires and neglect took their toll. Eventually, the Bannerman family abandoned the castle, leaving it to decay. The haunting ruins of Bannerman's castle continues echo tales of ambition and destruction, but this other marvel, crafted not by human hands but by nature, stands far away in South America. Number 11. Mount Roraima. Mount Roraima is a breathtaking geological wonder located at the crossroads of Venezuela, Guyana, and Brazil. With its stunning levels and towering cliffs, Roraima has captured the imagination of explorers and adventurers for centuries. This mystical mountain stands as a proof to the power of nature, holding immense ecological significance as it is home to a vast array of unique plant and animal species found nowhere else on Earth. Scientists believe that the extraordinary biodiversity of Roraima is the result of millions of years of isolation and adaptation to its harsh environment. Despite its natural beauty and scientific value, Mount Roraima remains largely off-limits to humans. This is because the fragile ecosystems here are extremely sensitive to human interference, and even small disruptions can have lasting and harmful effects on the delicate balance of life. For the indigenous people living in the region, Mount Roraima holds a deep spiritual significance, and they view disturbing its peace as an act of disrespect. The terrain itself, with its sharp cliffs and unpredictable weather, poses significant challenges to anyone attempting to navigate it. The weather can change without warning, and the terrain is disloyal, making it a dangerous place for the unprepared. And like Mount Romania, this ancient structure equally guards its own untold stories in a rather mysterious way. Number 10. El Castillo, Chichen Itza, Mexico. Though it stands as one of the most remarkable and iconic landmarks in the world, this incredible structure is completely off limits to visitors.
This is a simple echo. Actually, it's very simple to explain. When you clap in front,
Built by the ancient Maya civilization atop a massive sinkhole, the Grand Temple was not only a place for worship and sacrifice, but also a stunning example of architectural brilliance. It's clear that the Maya had an advanced understanding of sinkholes and their natural forces, which made this site even more impressive. For years, from its discovery until 2026, visitors were allowed to climb its stairs and explore the temple's inner chambers. However, after a tragic accident where someone fell to their death, the site was closed to the public, with most of the structure permanently shut off. While this decision is certainly understandable, there's still a great deal of curiosity about the secrets hidden within its walls. Many hope that one day the temple will be reopened so that its incredible history and beauty can once again be appreciated by all.
I really enjoyed the faces that were on the
But the ancient Maya temple is far from being the only place where beauty and darkness intertwine. In faraway Colombia, the Hotel del Salto tells a similarly haunting tale, where grandeur and ghosts collide by the edge of a sacred waterfall. Number 9. Hotel del Salto. Hotel del Salto in Colombia has a story that's both intriguing and tragic, marked by bad timing and a difficult location. Nestled near the Bogotá River, it was originally conceived as a lavish and exotic getaway. Early on, the hotel drew attention and visitors, thriving with success. However, the challenges soon began to mount. Local legends have long whispered that the area is haunted, with the nearby waterfall once being a sacred place where indigenous people sought refuge from Spanish invaders. As time passed, the beauty of the river turned dark. Pollution slowly crept in, tarnishing the once pristine waters and discouraging visitors.
From the Tequendama Falls in Colombia, I'm Tim Martini with Exploring the Obscure. Follow.
These growing problems spelled the hotel's decline, and eventually it was repurposed into a museum. Today, Hotel del Salto stands as a historical monument, still covered in mystery. Though it now serves as a place for learning, its strange past lingers, leaving a sense of unease. Visitors are advised to approach with caution, as the hotel's haunting history still holds a powerful grip on its atmosphere. Colombia's Hotel del Salto and its whispers of the past might still linger, but let's now journey to an entirely different, yet equally chilling relic of human history, deep within deadly radioactive shadows. Number 8. Elephant's Foot, Ukraine. Deep in the heart of Ukraine, within a place as dangerous as Chernobyl, lies an object so toxic that even the bravest souls would hesitate to get close. Known as the Elephant's Foot, this deadly formation is considered by experts to be the most radioactive piece of waste on Earth. It sits hidden just beneath the rubble of reactor number 4, the very reactor that exploded and turned the area into an uninhabitable wasteland. The Elephant's Foot earned its name because of its enormous size and peculiar warped shape. It began as a molten mass, searing hot with radioactive material that solidified over time into a massive 2-ton slab of terrifying radioactive waste. This object is made of corium, a highly toxic substance that has only been naturally formed 5 times in history. When scientists measured the radiation around it, they found levels so high that the reading soared to 10,000 Röntgens, far beyond anything considered safe. Getting close to the Elephant's Foot is essentially like standing next to a ticking time bomb. If you were to spend just 5 minutes near it, the exposure would be fatal, with death likely occurring within just 2 days. Despite the extreme danger and the strange fascination surrounding this dangerous relic, studying the Elephant's Foot remains nearly impossible. Scientists have tried to replicate it through simulations to better understand its effects, but their efforts have been largely unsuccessful. Even 4 decades after the catastrophic explosion, the Elephant's Foot still remains off-limits to humans, its danger undiminished by time. The Elephant Foot may be deadly, but what if the danger isn't just scientific, but supernatural? Speaking of eerie phenomena, let's journey to one strange location in India, where the risks go beyond radiation to whispers of ghosts and vanishing intruders. Number 7. Bhangar Fort. Bhangar Fort is not entirely off-limits, as tourists are allowed to explore this stunning example of Rajasthani architecture during daylight hours. However, once the sun sets, a strict prohibition is enforced, and no one is allowed to enter the fort until sunrise. Widely known as the most haunted place in India, this 16th century fort is surrounded by chilling legends of ghosts and curses. Just hearing some of these tales is enough to send a cold shiver down your spine. But what happens to those brave enough to venture into Bhangar Fort after dark? That remains a mystery. Locals claim that anyone who has dared to defy the ban has mysteriously disappeared without a trace. But Bhangar Fort isn't the only place steeped in eerie tales and unsettling vibes. Thousands of miles away in Japan, an abandoned theme park with crumbling structures and haunting remnants tells its own chilling story. Number 6. Gulliver's Travels Park. Located in Japan, the park was built with the goal of attracting more visitors to the country, thanks to government funding. The theme was based on the famous book Gulliver's Travels, and it opened its doors in 1997. However, instead of becoming a bustling tourist attraction, the park quickly became a symbol of the misguided projects Japan's government and banking sectors were pushing during the 1990s. This might sound a bit harsh, but when you take a look at some of the things they built, and the weird, unsettling vibe the place gave off, it's easy to see why the park barely lasted a decade before closing down. What made it even terrifying, though, was what happened afterward. As the park shut down, the giant statues and odd structures just sat there, abandoned and decaying. The lifelessness of the place left people wondering what else could be lurking behind the scenes of this forgotten park. It's the kind of place that, even in its decline, has a strangely haunting attraction. Now it's time for today's subscribers pick. In a remote desert valley, hidden from the prying eyes of the world, lies an ancient bunch of massive multi-storied buildings known as the Towers of Kaldar. These towering structures rise like jagged teeth from the earth, their surfaces covered in intricate carvings that illustrate heavenly design, mythical beasts, and cryptic symbols. For centuries, the towers have been covered in mystery, their origins lost to time. Legends speak of a lost civilization that constructed them, a society said to have exploited an otherworldly power. The towers are strictly off-limits, guarded by an elite order of security guards and surrounded by miles of barren wasteland. The site is under constant surveillance. Signs in dozens of languages warn visitors to turn back, while drones patrol the skies, ensuring no one breaches the perimeter. Governments claim the area is a historical preservation site, but conspiracy theorists argue otherwise. Whispers of secret experiments, alien technology, and forbidden knowledge have made the Towers of Kaldar a hotspot for speculation. One stormy night, a group of rogue explorers led by the daring archaeologist Dr. Elena Marquez decided to unravel the mystery. Armed with ancient maps and modern tech, they breached the outer boundary, navigating through treacherous sandstorms and avoiding patrol drones. As they approached the base of the tallest tower, they noticed something peculiar. The carvings on the walls seemed to glare, as though alive. Inside, the air was thick with a strange murmur. Each floor of the tower revealed chambers filled with artifacts that defied explanation. Floating sphere of light, metallic scrolls inscribed with unclear rhymes, and wall paintings that seemed to illustrate the rise and fall of civilizations not of this earth. What could have been the true purpose of the Towers of Kaldar? Were they a monument, a warning, or a gateway to something beyond human comprehension? Share your thoughts below. But while the Towers of Kaldar hint at humanity's ancient mysteries and forbidden knowledge, this other secret structure is one born of modern science and dire necessity. Number 5. Svalbard Global Seed Vault. Hidden deep in the cold, rugged mountains of Svalbard, Norway, lies a vault that holds one of the world's most valuable treasures, the Global Seed Vault. This vault is not just a marvel of modern engineering, it's a lifeline for the planet's future. Inside its reinforced walls are hundreds of thousands of seeds from all over the globe.
These boxes are sealed when they come to Svalbard, and none of us can open it.
Carefully stored to ensure that, in the event of a massive environmental disaster, humanity has the resources to rebuild crops and restore ecosystems. The idea for this life-saving project began in the mid-1980s, when scientists and global leaders realized the need for a secure, long-term plan for preserving biodiversity.
Brazil, Mexico, India, Zimbabwe, Azerbaijan.
By the early 2000s, the vision had grown into a worldwide effort, leading up to the opening of the Seed Vault in 2028. Since then, this top-secret facility has remained pushed away, off-limits to the public, with access granted only to authorized personnel. While the global seed vault might stand as a beacon of hope for our planet's survival, this other hidden facility in the heart of Russia offers a far more ominous vision of security. Number 4. Mount Yamantau. Mount Yamantau, nestled deep within Russia's Ural Mountains, stands as one of the world's most enigmatic and heavily restricted locations. Surrounded by impenetrable forests and cut off from public access, this mysterious mountain is guarded with an intensity that sparks endless speculation. Only a select few authorized personnel are ever permitted within its vicinity, adding to its air of secrecy and intrigue. Over the years, Mount Yamantau has earned a reputation as the site of highly classified military operations. Whispers of secret activities and secret installations have fueled rumors and theories about its true purpose. While official information is scarce, one theory looms larger than most. The mountain is believed to house an enormous underground bunker, designed to endure even the devastation of a nuclear attack. This speculation, though unconfirmed, suggests that the facility could serve as a sanctuary for Russia's top leaders and military officials in the event of a catastrophic scenario. This rumored bunker is said to lie beneath a staggering 3,000 feet of solid rock, much of it composed of resilient minerals. Such a construction would make it nearly impenetrable to external threats, ensuring its strategic importance. The sheer scale and ambition of such a structure, if it exists, would be nothing short of extraordinary, reinforcing Mount Yamantau's role as a cornerstone of Russia's national defense strategy. Despite the lack of concrete details, one thing is certain: Mount Yamantau is a place of immense strategic value and closely guarded secrecy. The mountain's location alone, positioned in the heart of the Ural Range, offers a natural fortress, while the possibility of sophisticated underground facilities makes it even more critical. Its restricted status and the lack of transparency only deepen the mystery, leaving the world to wonder what lies hidden beneath its imposing peaks. Number 3. The Vatican Secret Archive. The Vatican Secret Archive, renamed the Vatican Apostolic Archive in 2019, is one of the most fascinating and mysterious repositories in the world. Hidden within the Vatican walls, this archive serves as the central vault for countless documents that trace the history, decisions, and secrets of the Catholic Church over the centuries. Some of these papers date back over 1,200 years to the 8th century, offering a glimpse into a world long past. The collection is nothing short of extraordinary. Imagine holding a letter from Michelangelo himself, written to Pope Julius II, possibly regarding his work on the Sistine Chapel, or the haunting words penned by Mary, Queen of Scots, in her final letter before her execution in 1587. Among the treasures is also the papal bull excommunicating Martin Luther, a crucial moment in history that triggered the Protestant Reformation. But the archive isn't just about what's inside. Its physical structure is equally intriguing. Spanning an incredible 85 kilometers of shelves, much of it lies underground, secured in a climate-controlled environment to preserve these priceless records. Despite its allure, access is tightly restricted. Entry is forbidden to the general public, and even for researchers, obtaining permission is no small feat. Those granted access face strict rules about what they can see, often requiring approval for each specific document they wish to examine. While the Vatican Apostolic Archive preserves centuries of human history behind locked doors, some stories are etched into the landscapes themselves. One such story lies in Krakow, Italy, a hauntingly beautiful town whose ruins whisper tales of an ultimate surrender to nature's fury. Number 2. Ghost Town of Krakow. Krakow, Italy is a captivating example of why some abandoned places are best approached with caution. Nestled atop a rugged hillside, this ancient town is a stunning yet sobering reminder of nature's unpredictable power. Founded by the Greeks in the 6th century AD, Krakow's story stretches back even further, as evidenced by ancient tombs dating to the 8th century BC. This remarkable timeline of continuous settlement highlights its strategic importance and ability to adapt through centuries of historical change. Once a flourishing community, Krakow boasted Dark Age fortifications and elegant Renaissance architecture that underscored its role in regional trade and politics. The town thrived for centuries, its streets bustling with life and culture. However, starting in the 17th century, nature began to unravel Krakow's prosperity. A powerful earthquake dealt the first blow, damaging much of the city. But it was the relentless series of earthquakes and landslides in the 20th century that sealed its fate. By the 1960s, These devastating geological events had made the area too dangerous to inhabit, forcing the government to relocate its residents. The evacuation marked the end of Krakow as a vibrant town and the beginning of its strange transformation into a modern-day ghost town. Today, Krakow's silent, crumbling ruins tell a haunting story of resilience, disaster, and abandonment. Its empty streets and decaying buildings provide a window into a bygone era, where the echoes of history seem to linger in the air. Despite the risks posed by its unstable terrain, Krakow continues to attract visitors, drawn by its dramatic landscape and historical mystery. Efforts have been made to stabilize parts of the town, preserving it for archaeological studies and historical research. But Krakow is not alone in its eerie abandonment. Across the Atlantic lies another place shrouded in history and tragedy. While this island may not have Krakow's ancient ruins, but its quiet shores conceal a secret far more haunting. Number 1. Hart Island. Though it spans only about a mile in length, this New York island holds a staggering secret. It is the final resting place for over 1 million people. These graves date back as far as the Civil War, marking the island as a silent witness to centuries of history and loss. For a long time, the only permanent residents of this island were those buried there, as the living were kept at bay by strict regulations.
And so that does involve two agencies, Department of Correction and Department of Transportation.
Originally managed by the Department of Corrections, Hart Island was covered in mystery, with limited access granted only under strict conditions. Even the ferries, the sole means of reaching the island, were tightly controlled. In the mid-2010, a small but significant change was introduced. Relatives of the deceased were allowed to visit once a month, provided they submitted a formal request for permission. This newfound access offered a glimmer of connection to the island's dark history.
Tours, having staff to lead the tours, as well as increased funding for transportation.
In 2021, stewardship of Hart Island shifted to the Department of Parks and Recreation. Many hoped this transition would finally lift the veil of restrictions and open the island to the public. Yet, as of 2024, the rules remain largely unchanged, leaving Hart Island in a state of permanent semi-isolation. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. For decades, historians have struggled to lay hold on thousands and thousands of ancient materials written in mysterious languages. They knew where they were from, but could never figure out the secrets behind all those signs and symbols. But what if we told you all that the game has changed? AI has revealed dozens of secrets with unbelievable accuracy, and it may be a lot to take in. The Ein-Gedi Scroll. The Ein-Gedi Scroll is an ancient Hebrew parchment found in 1970 at Ein-Gedi, Israel, and for decades, this ancient artifact has fascinated as well as confused historians and scholars. This ancient piece of writing was made from animal skin parchment, and it dates back approximately to 1,500 years. During that time, it was kept securely inside the Holy Ark of a synagogue located on the western shore of the Dead Sea. However, tragedy struck the community when a fire swept through the town. Unfortunately, the fire consumed much of what was there, but despite the destruction, the Holy Ark managed to survive alongside its content, including the scroll. However, the heat of the fire had a serious impact on the scroll itself and caused it to harden into a fragile charcoal-like tube. And so, for a long time, it was impossible to unroll or read the scroll without destroying it. Now, this posed a big problem. How could they possibly examine or read the text in the scroll without causing irreparable damage? After months and months of trying to figure out a solution, in 2015, a dedicated team of scientists finally found a way to solve the mystery of the Ein-Gedi scroll without causing any damage to its fragile structure. With a combination of advanced CT scans and specially designed computer software, they were able to create a detailed virtual copy of the scroll. By 2016, all their hard work paid off, and the team was ready to share their exciting findings with the world. After carefully analyzing the digital version of the scroll, they discovered that it was an historical treasure. The scroll was estimated to be between 1,700 and 1,800 years old. And its content was even more remarkable. In it was the first 2 chapters of the Book of Leviticus in its raw Hebrew text, and this was one of the earliest copies of the Torah ever found. And if there's anything